Hi guys, so right here I have Lenovo ThinkPad X240 Core i5 4th generation, and on this side we have the Lenovo ThinkPad X13 Core i5 10th generation. So you see, there's this old saying that goes by that says actually that old is gold, and I don't know if that is true in the tech world, and that's why I have these two machines here. We want to try and prove something. We see if that saying makes sense in the tech world or it doesn't make sense. So stick around and I hope you'll enjoy this comparison. So first and foremost, on this side we have the Lenovo ThinkPad X13 Core i5 10th Gen. So remember, this is a laptop that was first released into the market in 2020, and on this other side we have the X240 that was released in the market in 2016. So right here we have a difference of 4 years. Yeah, it's 4 years, but again, despite it being 4 years, we have on the X240, this series, it counts like from X240 is the 4th generation, then we have X250 5th generation, X260 6th gen, then we have X270 7th gen, then we have X280, that is 8th gen, and then from there we go into X13 Gen 1. Yeah, so it's a difference of 4 laptops in between. So we want to see what has really changed in between these two machines. What's new? Yeah, so we'll have a look from the ports, have a look at the how slim, the weight, the body material. Yeah, so that we find out if it is worth it. Let's assume that you are in the market for a laptop and maybe your budget is way below the price of X13. Will it be worth it to have the X240 instead? Or if you have X240 instead, what are the advantages of having X240? Yeah, or let's just find out the difference. Yeah, I really hope that you'll enjoy this video up to the end. First and foremost, if you are new to this account, kindly subscribe to the channel because I really appreciate your support, guys. And if you are a continuous member, don't forget to like and comment in any question that you have. Feel free to ask a question. So let's get right into it. As usual, we start with the exterior design of these two laptops. Yeah, so in terms of weight, I'd already measured them, so I'm not going to talk about the weight on this one. But in terms of weight, we have the X213 weighing about 1.4 kgs, and then we have the X240 weighing 1.8 kilograms. So that's around 400 grams difference. Yeah, I know you expected it to be a bit lighter, but there's a catch on this, and I'll explain to you just in the next part of this video. So first, let's have a look at the design. So you see, the one at the bottom, this is the X240, the one on top is the X13. From the looks, you can even see the color is a bit different. Yeah, the X13 is a bit dark black. Yeah, while this one is the black is a bit fadey. Yeah, actually the materials are different because on this surface it's a bit smooth, but the grip is fine. Yeah, not so smooth. But on X240, it's not as smooth, therefore the grip is so stronger than on X13. Yeah, so on the X13 we have magnesium alloy on the cover, both at the top and at the bottom. Yeah, so it's a bit durable, it's something strong compared to the X240. See, X240, if you hold it like this, let's try maybe and open it. You see, at some point you can bend it a bit. Yeah, and the material, the casing, the alloy on the casing is a bit it's magnesium, but I think maybe the concentration is a bit low, so it's not as strong as you'll find in these, and that's why this, no, despite it being lighter, it's still heavier at some point. Yeah. And on the size, we realize, let me just put it like this, you'll see there's a difference in size. So the X240 has a screen size of 12.5 inch, while the X13 has a screen size of 13.3 inch. So it's a bit bigger in screen size, and I don't think that is a disadvantage, because actually you need a big screen, not so small, not so big, something that is portable, slim. And as you can see, X13 it's more slimmer than X240, because the X240 has those sharp edges at the bottom, while on the X13 you have, yeah, they're trying to make it as ultrabook or as slim as possible, and slim as sleek as possible. So at the back, as you can see, there's no big difference, but on the X13, you see we have a port here for SIM card purposes. So it supports the 4G network LTE card here, so you can put a SIM card on the X13 and use it as a network or internet source. Yeah. While on the X240 we have nothing there, so there's one difference there. Let's have a look at the right hand side. So the right hand side, as you can see, on the X240 we have the RJ45 port. Right here you have at the lower side you can see there, that's a memory card slot, and then on top of it now we have the SIM card slot. So both of them have SIM card functionality. Yeah, just at the top you have that slot that is available on X13 on this side. Yeah, so I don't know if the position matters, which position is better with you. Actually I feel on the X13 is a bit better, because it is placed in a position that at least it's somehow hidden, not as it is on this side here. And then we have the RJ45, which is not available on the X13. Yeah. Then next there we have USB port. You can see we have USB, that is USB 3.0 port. Yeah. Then we have the audio jack on this side. So to your surprise, on the X13 on this side there are no ports. Actually they've tried to reduce the number of ports on the right hand side. So you only have the Kingston lock here and USB 3.1 port here. So this port has high transfer rate than the port on X240. So that's an added advantage, that's an added plus. If you're somebody who transfers data and you need a machine that can transfer data so fast. Yeah. Let's have a look on the left hand side. So on the left hand side we have ventilation slot here. Yeah. So remember, they have actually changed the architecture of these two machines, because on the X13 we had the ventilation slot on the right hand side, while on the X240 we have the ventilation slot on the left hand side. So they have actually interchanged how they are on the motherboard. We'll find about that later. So we are trying to see the ports on this other side. Yeah. So as you can see, let me start with the first port. So here we have the HDMI port here, and then next we have USB 3.0 port. We have VGA port here for extension of display. Then we have the ventilation port there. So right there you have the normal, or how do we call it, the legendary USB charging port for Lenovo, the one with the yellow pin that looks like a USB. It's so legendary on Lenovo ThinkPads. And then on the X13 now we have the audio jack has actually been transferred from the right hand side to the left hand side, the audio jack. Yeah. And you realize on these most modern machines the audio jack is usually on the left. Yeah. They have transferred it from the right to the left. Then we have HDMI port. So we have HDMI instead of VGA. Definitely we just had to have HDMI, because in the modern world the HDMI is so much in use compared to the VGA port. Then we have USB 3.1 port, yeah, high speed port. Then on the next side we have USB Type-C port. Then we have a docking station that just close to one another here on this port here. See this port? So you have a USB Thunderbolt port there, USB Type-C Thunderbolt port, and a docking station port, docking port there. And then we have the charging port. So on the X13 we have a charging port that is Type-C is of Type-C. Yeah, so that's a high speed charging port. Actually on the X13 you can charge your laptop from 0 to 80% just in around 45 minutes. So in terms of charging, the X13 has a good charging ability compared to the X240. Yeah, so much has been said about that, and let's get the keyboard or the inner side. See the difference, where the difference is. And this is on. Let me just turn it off because we'll do the speed test. We see. Let me just shut it down. So on the screen side, something about the screen flexing ability. For the X13, you can flip it to see how slim it is. Yeah, so you can flip it to 180 degrees on the table, and this is usually advantage because whenever you're using machine on a table, then somebody happens to have just placed his hand on the screen by mistake, it will go direct to the table, and therefore there won't be a hinge breakage. Actually on the Lenovo Lenovo ThinkPad series like X240, X13, it's very rare to come across a Lenovo ThinkPad series with the hinge issues because they usually flip up to 180 degrees, and that is so much protective compared to the ones that come up to, let's say, 160 degrees. Yeah, the other laptops here, like the IdeaPads, Lenovo IdeaPad. And as usual for the hinges, there's usually that hinge test that we perform, yeah, with trying to lift the lid with a single finger. We see how good the hinges are. It's so useless, but it's as important as it should be. You'll realize that later. So let me try and lift it with a single finger. See how it happens, and see if the hinges qualify. Yeah, so I'm lifting it, and actually it is not at all. You have to place your finger support and then you open it. So that means the hinges are a bit stiff. Yeah, let's see what happens on the X240. As usual, let's see. I try. It's almost there, but it's not working because I'm actually lifting the laptop off the table, so it's not possible. I'll have to use my other hand to support it. Yeah, so in terms of the lid, how stiff is, they are not as good, because for a good laptop at the lids, it has to be in a position that where you can lift the lid with your single finger without lifting the laptop off the table, just as in MacBook and some other high-end Lenovo laptops, HP laptops, and the rest. Yeah, so let's have a look at the internal parts, the keyboard. Yeah, let's see what has changed on the keyboard. There's something I'm seeing here on the keyboard that has changed. Yeah, and let me just show it to you. So you see, this is Lenovo X240, this is Lenovo X13. So the keyboard, you just have to flip them to, yeah. So as you can see, this is X240, yeah, this is X13. So if you look closely on the X240, you realize that the power button is placed at the edge. Yeah, the power button is right here. But on the X13, we have the power button somewhere on top. Yeah, see where it is? The power button is actually here. Yeah, that is the power button on the X13. So they have interchanged it. I don't know which is good with you, but I actually feel that on the X13 is well placed. Yeah, and then fingerprint security. So on the X13, you had this fingerprint that you had to slide your finger here. See where you have the fingerprint. So right here, yeah. So you had to slide your finger here if you maybe you activated the fingerprint ability security. So you slide your fingers here, and this was not much comfortable or that effective, yeah, as the now improved fingerprint position on the X13. We have the fingerprint right somewhere here. I don't know if you can see it clearly. So you have the finger. So this, you only need to place your finger in between that box there, and then it gets to scan. So it's easier to scan the fingerprint on this one, on the X13, compared to the fingerprint on X240. So that's an added advantage for the X13. So it's still actually winning, yeah. And then on the screen, just have a look at the bezel. You'll realize that on the X13 here, they've tried to, the screen is a bit, yeah, it's edge to edge, yeah. The bezel is as slim as possible, yeah, very thin. The bezel is very thin, you can see, yeah. We have the camera on top of it. We have a camera here. But on the X240, you see, the bezel was a bit thick, yeah. So it ate most of the screen, yeah, as compared to the X13. And I know most of you will love how the bezel is on the X260, yeah. So on the keyboard, I was forgetting, for the keyboard and the trackpad, you see on the X13 we have the physical keys, physical click pads, yeah. Then we have this center button. Those who love Lenovo laptops, you know the function of this center click pad, yeah. So we have the size and the center one. While on the X240 there are not those click pads, but it is on top, like it is something that has been placed on the inside. It's not physically identifiable, but if you press on the top, you have those click pads on the top, and then you have those click pads at the bottom too. So they're both on the bottom and the top, yeah, just as it is in the X13. It's only that now in the X13 they're physically placed, yeah. And then in terms of keyboard, how good the keyboard feel is, remember these two laptops, the keyboard are backlit, so that is the plus. You need a laptop that has backlit keyboard if you're going to use it in a place that you don't have. Maybe you're a person that uses a laptop at night and you want to turn off the lights but still continue using your laptop. Therefore you need something that has backlit keyboard. That is a plus. And in terms of the keyboard layout, how the keyboard feel, as usual, I still feel that the keyboard on the X240 is just so awesome compared to the one on the X13. For the X13, they tried to reduce the travel distance on the keyboard, though you still feel it, like it's still you still feel the clicks, which is nice to feel as you type. And I still feel the travel distance on this X240 is just as awesome and okay, even much better than the one on the X13. The only issue is that now if you happen to press so strong on the key on this X240, then there's a possibility of the laptop bending. You see, it's bending, yeah. So it's a bit weak on this part as compared to the X240 that is so strong, yeah. Actually it can't even bend, it's very strong. And remember, the Lenovo keyboard has passed those military tests like the water spill test, and they're so durable because you can actually pour alcohol on it or even water on it and it won't go bad. And if you think I'm wrong, let me just show you an example. Let's experiment the water spill on one of these machines, yeah. So I have a cup full of tea here. I just want to pour it on this, and then we see what happens, yeah. Actually, I'm not going to try that. There's no tea there. I wasn't going to do that test because that's a very delicate test. As much as it's proven in the company, but on the ground you have to try your best to keep water or any liquid far away from your laptop's keyboard, because one thing for sure about Lenovo ThinkPad keyboards is that the replacement are so expensive, so you wouldn't need to tamper with one, yeah, or even incur the cost of replacing one that you happen to have messed around just because you had tea or water close to your laptop. So please keep water or any liquid far away from your keyboard. Yeah. So much has been said on the outside. Let's get to look at the interior of these machines and compare the processors and the rest and see where the difference is. So I'll just turn them on, and as usual we do the speed test, see which one of them turns on first. Remember, on the X13 we have Core i5 10th Gen, 8GB of RAM and 256GB SSD, yeah, on the X13. While on the X240 we have 4GB of RAM, 500GB of storage, and it's a 4th generation. So on this side we have SD, this side we have a disk. Let's see how fast they turn on. Yeah, and as usual I'm going to use my stopwatch. It's unfortunate that I didn't put it on earlier, but it's okay, it was just around. So we go. Yeah, I'll turn it on. Let's just see. So 1 2 3. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. So this is 16 seconds, it's already on. 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30. It's on. 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42. 42 seconds for it to turn on. It took almost let's just say almost a minute to turn on, and the X13 only took 16 seconds to turn on. Yeah, so right now they are on. Let me just improve the brightness on these so that we see the properties. I want you to see the properties. So as usual, I usually advise my clients that if you go to the shop to buy a laptop and you want to see all the properties of that laptop, it's always preferable that you click on Control Shift Escape, then you get to the task manager. Control Shift Escape, have the task manager opening. Control Shift Escape. So from the task manager you go to the performance tab. Yeah, I'll have to zoom it a bit for you to see. So you go to the performance tab, then on the performance tab, yeah, we navigate to, let me just put them side by side here. So on the performance tab you go to Control Shift Escape. So the X240 is a bit slow because it uses a hard disk, and the response rate is so slow. I think we'll get there. Yeah, it's so slow, but we are getting there. I know this video has been so long, but I know it will be so productive, because why not after all this time? So the X240 is the bit, it's taking too much time to get to where we want, but no problem. So let's have a look at the system properties of the X13. So remember I told you it's Core i5. You go to the performance tab, have a look at the CPU. The CPU is Core i5 10th gen 210U. The base speed is 2.1 gigahertz. So the 10th gen comes with a processor that has 4 cores, and then you have 8 logical processors. Yeah, so that's where it actually beats the X240. Remember, if you're doing something like rendering, if you're somebody who uses the machine for perform heavy tasks that needs rendering or multitasking, then having higher number of cores, having higher number of logical processors, the threads, it's better because it will make that work a bit faster and more efficient. So that's where the X13 beats X240 so much. Yeah, and it's getting annoying because it's dragging. Yeah, the X240 is dragging so much. I never expected it to drag like that. But let's continue. Let's have a look at the memory. So the RAM we had on these, we have 8 GB of RAM installed. You can see there it's 8 GB of RAM. And the one that is currently on use, we have 2 RAMs on 2 RAM slots. So 2 slots are in use, 2 out of 2 in use. Each RAM has a speed of 2667 megahertz speed for each RAM. That's very good speed. And then we have SSD of 256 GB. You can see that it's a Micron SSD of 256. You can see there. Wi-Fi, we have a Wi-Fi 6 adapter on the. It's a Wi-Fi 6 adapter on the X13. Then we have the GPU. We have integrated Intel Ultra HD graphics. So this machine can perform so many tasks in the modern world. It's unfortunate that the X240 is out of power. I'll have to recharge it for us to continue. But remember something, they say old is gold. But again, remember, if you're going to use something like Adobe Premiere Pro 2016 on both these two machines, they'll just perform. But if you want to install Adobe 2024 or Adobe 2023, then you realize that it performs so much better on the X13 compared to the on X240. No matter how much the improvement you do on the X240, like improving the RAM, SSD, it still performs much better on the X13 because the processor is all that matters here, and the processor is something that you can't upgrade because it's soldered on the board. So as much as you say all is good, I still feel up to this point of the video that X13 is way much ahead of X240, and there's a lot of improvements that they've done on the X13. Yeah, so let me just charge it and then we continue. We have a look at the cameras because we have not tested the camera, see how good the camera is. We have not looked at the properties of the X240 so that we compare the processor side by side. Yeah, so just a minute and then we'll get back to the video. Keep subscribing, I really appreciate the support, and keep liking the video and keep the comment section engageful. So welcome back, and the X240 is running. Yeah, you can see. Unfortunately we'll have to use it while it's on charge because we just have to continue it on. So in terms of the properties, just as I said earlier, I go to the performance tab, get to the CPU. Yeah, the CPU, you can see for the X240 you have it's a Core i5 4300U with a base speed of 2.5 gigahertz. So the base speed on the X240 is a bit high, 2.5 gigahertz compared to the base speed that we had on the X13, that is 2.1 gigahertz. That's because it's a bit slim and it's using a modern technology so as to preserve the battery for efficiency. Yeah? You realize that these modern machines, they come with a lower base speed compared to the older ones that had higher base speed, because you realize that in most of these machines, if you're using them maybe to browse, then you wouldn't need the processor to be so much at a higher speed for it to perform. That's why they have lower base speed, so that it only get to higher clock speeds or to boost when you're doing something that's so demanding. And then you realize that because this has the X240 comes with 2 cores, while the X13 comes with 4 cores. Then the X240 has 4 logical processors, only 4 on the X240, while you have 8 logical processors on the X13. So it means that when you're doing heavy tasks, the turbo boost on the X13 will get up to 4.2 gigahertz as compared to on the X240 that will only get to around 3.2 gigahertz or 3.5 gigahertz to the maximum on turbo boost. So you have higher hidden clock speed on the X13 as compared to the on the X240. That makes it so much efficient in terms of energy and performance, yeah, and even overheating. So it will not overheat during low tasks like browsing and doing the other stuffs, yeah, as compared to the X240 that will get higher temperatures even at low task, yeah, because the CPU speed is always high, yeah. In terms of memory, we have on the X240 have the number of slots used on the X240, as you can see, it's 1 slot out of 1. So on the X240 you have only a single RAM slot as compared to the X13 that you have 2 RAM slots. So the Wi-Fi here on the X240, Wi-Fi adapter, let's have a look at the Wi-Fi adapter on the X240. I'll have to pardon me because it's a bit slow. It's behaving weird. Let's just give it some time. You see, so in terms of performance, speed, the X13 is still very much ahead the Wi-Fi adapter, because in the X13 we have Wi-Fi 6 adapter, while on the X240 we have that is a Wi-Fi 3 adapter, yeah, so it's a bit traditional. So that means that in terms of speed, performance, even the high amount of internet speed that you can use on the X240 is a bit low compared to the one that you can use on the, for example, let's say you're using an internet that has a speed of 100 megabits per second, yeah. So on the X240 you won't be able to use that internet properly because it will be limited according to the network or hardware adapter of the internet installed on the machine. But on the X13 you'll be able to use that bandwidth, all of it, and in fact you can use it up to even 500 megabits per second, yeah, of speed. So it's more diverse as compared to the X30 that is so limited. I know I've talked too much, so much has been said. Let's get a look at the screens, yeah. Remember I told you that the screen for the X13 is the screen on the X13 is 13.3 inch, while the X240 is 12.5 inch. So if you have a keen look at these two screens, on the X13 we have a screen, the one that we are using here is a full HD screen panel, yeah, that is the native full HD, and there are some other variants that come with the Ultra HD screen panels, the same X13, but on the X240 you only have HD screen panel that is 1366 by something. So in terms of resolution, screen quality on the X13 is so much ahead of the one on the X240. So still all this goal not working. Let's have a look at the cameras. First and foremost, at the cameras you can see on the X213 we have a camera shutter. That is an added advantage because it's a manual lock. You just need to slip it or slide it in to block your cameras, yeah, for security and anti-piracy. Yeah, that's well thought of compared to the X240, whereby you have to block it manually, maybe with a sellotape or something physically, yeah. So let's just have a test at the cameras, both the cameras. So I'll go first with the camera on X240. We test how good the camera is. Let me just test it so quickly. Let's see how good the camera is. So on this first video I'm going to change to the mic so that you get to listen how good the microphone X240 is, and you'll compare it with the one on the X13. Yeah, so this is a video from the X240. Hi everyone, so this is the camera on the Lenovo X240. I don't know how good it is, but I look a bit light skin on this, so maybe it's a bit performing, I don't know, but we'll have to compare. It's up on you to compare between it and the X230, because actually I don't see a big difference, and it's 4 years and maybe I don't see a big difference on the cameras. Yeah, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe on this account, because I really appreciate your support, guys. Yeah, so that is it on the Lenovo ThinkPad X240 camera. Hi everyone, so this is a video that I've recorded using the camera of the X13. That's how the camera is. You can check my hands, maybe see there's a delay. So the camera is not as good, but at least it's trying. I don't know how the sound quality is, but I hope the sound quality is good too. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe as usual. Thank you. So that was on X13. So as usual, we've managed to see the inside, we managed to compare the processors, and as usual, I'll say that if you happen to need to work on the modern applications that are demanding professionally, like the AutoCADs, video editing softwares like Adobe Premiere Pro, then it will perform much better on the X13 compared to the X240. X240 will handle it, but just light, the entrance ones. But professionally, you need something that is reliable as the X13. Yeah, so as usual, I'll have to open the back cover of this machine so that you get to see what's on the inside on the motherboard. Yeah, as we close it, so stick around, don't go. So I'll have to be very fast on this. We see which of them, maybe if you're using these two laptops, then which among them will you find easy to open the back cover, because again, you might be using this laptop and then you have that emergency situation whereby you have to open it on yourself at home, maybe to adjust the RAM or blow dust away from them. So let's see which one is easy to operate on. So I'll have to turn them upside down as usual. Yeah, X240 on the left hand side and X13 on the right hand side. So in terms of the bottom cover screws, on the X240 we have so many screws. Actually I can count them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7, 8. So you have 8 screws at the bottom to open, yeah, so that you get to the motherboard. While on the X13 you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 5 screws to get to access the motherboard. So another thing is that on the X13, on the X240 we have a battery here. So it comes with 2 batteries. So one it's outside and then you have one in. But on the X13, all the batteries is inside. Yeah, we have a single battery that is inside. So let's open it and see what's in. So I'll just have to a bit faster on this one. You'll have to pardon me here because I'll have to be a bit faster. So that is actually it was I had opened the other screws. Yeah, so if you want to remove the battery on the X13, yeah, this is how you remove the battery. You have these 2 clips, you slide it back, then on this side too you slide the clip back. You have a clip here. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do on the table. And then one thing I was forgetting, you see on Lenovo ThinkPads, they have one good advantage. There's this situation whereby you're using your laptop, yeah, especially Lenovo, and then maybe after using it at night, you turn on off the laptop just as normal, yeah. And then the next day you wake up, you want to use your machine, you try turning it on, it is not responding. You place the charger, it's not even blinking the charging port, yeah. So what normally happens is that your laptop has entered into a state that we call it is the state that we call, there's something called power surge, yeah. It has power surge interference. That's whereby there's misflow of power or wrong or improper flow of power in the laptop that is preventing it from turning on or operating normally. Therefore you need to discharge it completely. So once you remove this battery or you can't access the inbuilt battery, there's usually a small hole at the back of the Lenovo ThinkPad laptops. So you only need to find something like a pin, and then you insert the pin on the hole, hold for around a minute, that is 60 seconds, yeah. You just long press on it for 60 seconds and then try turning on the laptop. 100% chances that the laptop will turn on, unless it has a hardware failure or a motherboard failure, then it won't turn on. But most of the time it will definitely turn on. So you see here there is a small hole here. I don't know if it is, the camera can see it, yeah. There's a small hole there. The same as on the X13, we have a small hole just right here, yeah. So this is the reset button. When I open the motherboard, remove the casing, you'll be able to see where that button is on the board, yeah. So first let me just get out the motherboard on the X13, yeah. So you see this is how it is. And remember, I told you that there's a pin that gets through this to the laptop. See here, there is a button here, yeah. You get it? Can hear? So that's a button. That's whereby if you use the pin, then you're pressing on the button, it will definitely save the laptop, yeah. So let me just open the X230 so fast because time is running out. Don't have time on our side. Fortunately it has only 5 screws, so I remove the screws. The screws, yeah. So these screws, they don't usually leave the back cover, yeah, because they have the spring that are holding them on the cover, so you don't need to open them to get out. Like so, to remove the back plate, you can use a screwdriver like this, then you press, yeah, see, like that. That's how you remove the back cover. Yeah, so just be patient with it because we have some clips, and there you go. So we have the back cover. So actually, in terms of weight, do we really need to discuss this? Yeah. No. So let's have a look at the motherboard. So here you'll have to pardon me to change the camera angle so that you get to have a closer view at what's happening on the motherboard of these two laptops, yeah. So there you go, we have the two motherboards on table. So the motherboard on this side is for the X13, while on this side we have the X240 motherboard. So just have a keen look. You realize that on the X13, from the batteries, yeah, we had two batteries. On the X240, we had this battery that was outside, yeah, then we had this that is inbuilt. So these batteries are combining, yeah, to ensure that this laptop holds so much charge, yeah. But the inner one is a bit smaller, yeah. But on the X13 we have a very big battery, and from the experiment that I did with these two laptops, I realized that on the X240 the battery only lasted 4 hours, when the X13 the battery went to around 22 hours. Can you imagine the difference? So it's a very big difference, yeah. So in terms of battery, all this gold, it's not working too, because they've actually improved the battery on the X13 as compared to the X240. So let's have a look at the RAM, yeah. So remember we said that on the X13 we had 2 slots for RAM, But if you happen to look closely here on the motherboard, you can't see anywhere that you can't see anywhere, or you can't access the RAM physically on this board. So the RAMs are soldered on the motherboard, therefore you can't expand the RAM on these. Yeah, so that will correct me on the previous part whereby I said that you can upgrade the RAM from for the X13 to 32 GB, because on these actually you can't. Yeah, see how the motherboard is. So if you buy one with 8 GB of RAM, then you'll have to use 8 GB of RAM. If you buy one with 16 GB, then it's 16 GB of RAM. Yeah, so it's just upon you to pick. While on the X240, yes, you can upgrade the RAM, because you see you have the RAM here. This is the RAM. Yeah, you can upgrade it from 4 GB to 8 GB. Yes, but the maximum you can go is 16 GB. So at least the RAM here is upgradable and it's physical, but on the X13 is not physical. Any other thing that we're forgetting, have a look at the fan size. You see on the X13 we have a bigger fan, so the ventilation or cooling is proper as compared to the fan on the X13. Yes, and something notable, you see on the X240 we have a hard disk. You can replace this with the SSD that is of 2.5 SATA SSD that is in similar size to the hard disk and is of SATA type. Yeah, we don't have an M2 slot on the X240, but on the X13 we have M2 slot here, so you can upgrade the M2 SSD from 256 to 1 TB if you like, because you have the expansion slot right there. Yes, and right, this empty slot here, this is where you fit your network card here for the SIM card there. It fits here. On the X13 or on the X240 it fits here. And then something notable, you realize that the network card on the X240 is physical. You can remove it. Yeah, you can change it, you can upgrade it. But on the X13 the network card is soldered on the motherboard. This is it. It's so small. Maybe I can zoom it for you to see. It's also small network card here. SSD. This is the SSD. Yeah, bigger fan. The speakers, see, the speakers are so big. So in terms of speaker sound quality on the X13, expect to get crispy and clear sound speakers compared to the small ones on the X13. See the ones on the X13 so small. Right here, the speakers. The RAM is here. This is the processor, the fan. You have the docking station just below here. You have the network card here. This is the network card, the normal Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card. Yeah, so that's how the interior is. And on the X13 we had that hole that I was talking about. See, if you cover this laptop like this, there's this small hole here, yeah, for resetting, and that hole goes here. See, we have a switch here. Yeah, so this switch is the one that is usually used to reset the laptop in when you have power surge, just the same as we have a switch here, yeah, for power surge repair. Yes, so that's how you go about it if you have such an issue. So from my own point of view, after reviewing these two laptops, all that I can say is that as much as old is gold on the tech world, I don't feel that old is gold. And as much as X240 still performs better in today's market, that is like from 2016 up to now, that is 2024. That's around how many years? 2016 to 2024. That is 8 years. It still performs much better and can still handle. Okay, let's say it can even, you can install Windows 10, Windows 11 on X240, though through bypassing it will still work. But on the X213, Windows 11 is, you can install it properly because it has a TPM 2.0 security chip model on the board as compared to the previous security chip, the updated chip on the X240. So the X213 is way much ahead of the X240. So it's upon you to decide. But remember, Lenovo ThinkPad, whichever the model, they're still good. But the latest model, the better. I really appreciate. Don't forget to subscribe to this account as usual. Don't forget to like this video. See you next time on another one. Different time, same place. Bye.